do me a big favor. Do me a big favor and like, share, and subscribe this video. You want your chips? Let me see. Okay. All right. Do me a big favor. Like, share, and subscribe. I'm gonna give you a brief moment to hit that like button. Give you a brief moment to hit the share button and basically subscribe. So really want to talk about why the Huey P Gun Club was started. I mean, that's the question. Like really, why? Why is all this kind of going on? Now I know a lot of people have their different perspectives or whatnot, or what may have occurred, or what led to their involvement. And if you involved in a movement that is similar to that or associated with it, obviously you got your reasons why you involved. But I'm gonna tell you why it was started, and I'm gonna tell you from a founder's perspective of why it was started. At least my perspective and my part, in creating the Huey P. Newton Gun Club, which was founded on October 20th, 2014. I think I'll tell you about the first maneuver. That's what I think I'll focus on, and because that was more or less the starting point, okay? Publicly, at least. I can tell you that there wasn't a lot of conversation that was had when this thing first started. It wasn't a lot of conversation. Reason for that is because the groups that became known or collaborated as the Huey P. Newton Gun Club was already active. Okay. I represent the Guerrilla Mainframe. Okay. Guerrilla Mainframe founded 2008 in Dallas, Texas. Uh, some of our known members, prominent members, is uh, Uhuru Balogun, Robert Taylor, Erick Khafre Balogun, Rakem Balogun, whom you may know was arrested on December 12th, 2017, and was later identified as a black identity extremist, okay, during that time. And if you know anything about the black identity extremist designation, it is similar to the COINTELPRO, all right, and just in a modern uh, version. And what I'll do is I'll put a link um, here so that you can look at the documentary that was filmed by Vice as it relates to Rakem Balogun being arrested in 2017, and our fight essentially to get him free. Um, I represent Guerrilla Mainframe, but at that particular time, you had the People's New Black Panther Party, and that was under Babu Omawali. Um, you had a couple of other different groups, militia type groups. Another prominent member was Anthony Fisher, Brother Zulu. Um, Good brother, I think. Um, but this kind of what brought us together in my part. I'm gonna speak for my part, can't speak for anyone else. My part in creating the Huey P. Newton Gun Club was because we was working on police brutality locally. I mean, we was entrenched in it. I was entrenched in that particular movement. What I'm talking about the murder of Clinton Allen uh, on March 10th, 2013 by Clark Stoller. His badge number is 9514. We protested so hard during that particular time, Guerrilla Mainframe, in association with Mothers Against Police Brutality, we came up with a chant one particular time. We say 9514, your badge is not clean. And so we were picketing, uh, demonstrating, doing all of this. And there was a whole movement that was really about picketing, protesting, and then we developed something from a policy perspective. And what I mean by policy, we was talking about at that particular time creating a new civilian review board, okay, or the type of group that would be able to create an oversight capabilities, capacities, in hopes of having subpoena power on the Dallas Police Department. That's what we talking about, the Dallas Police Department, some oversight. So we were picketing, demonstrating, and developing the movement to change the civilian review board. And that part becomes very important later. My thoughts was we got to have something militant, okay, to kind of say if you don't deal with these picketers, protesters, we got to have some militancy to kind of support or another option. And so, not a whole lot of conversation was had. These groups are already active. Again, I represent the Guerrilla Mainframe. Number one program that we push was food, clothes, and shelter program, which we pushed for several years at that particular time. And this is right before we start organizing in Highland Hills, which we are still active in today. Uh, myself personally, still active in Highland Hills. Uh, Two things: I currently serve as the lead organizer for an organization called Community Movement Builders, which is based out of Atlanta, which is led by my good brother, my elder, my comrade, Kamau Franklin. Look up CMB. It's a good group, connected with some good individuals, some excellent organizers. I'm connected with that. I'm affiliated with that. I'm under the direction and following the chain of command of CMB. But I'm here to talk about the gun club. I just want to kind of tell the origin and dispel the rumors that it started as something that was really on the whim. It was nothing that we planned. We didn't say, hey, we're gonna create this group. We just said police brutality is going on here in Dallas, Texas, and we want to give a militant position on that. And so that's kind of what led to it. Ironically, 3 months before August 20th, 2014, I had reached out to an individual, a very prominent individual, excuse me, a very prominent individual that I respect. And I told him about it. This is after I talked, had a very brief conversation about Boo. I talked to him about it and I said, can you be there? And he said he was there. And I was very confident about it at that particular time because I said, this motherfucker gonna be there, then we good. Um, and so it was based upon that. So we talking about this. It was essentially solidified in May that hey, on August 20th, we're doing this. Okay. At that particular time, I didn't know how we was doing it. I didn't know what particularly we was doing in terms of like the logistics, but I knew on this day we gonna set aside a time to exhibit black open carry, black exercise of the Second Amendment, black promotion of self-defense. That was our perspective, right, at that particular time. Um, Unfortunately, what happened was Mike Brown was murdered, I believe on August 9, 2014, by the officer in Ferguson. His name just slipped me now, but Mike Brown was murdered on August 9th. And when Mike Brown was murdered, keep in mind, we had already preemptively chose August 20th as the date 3 months prior based upon the availability of some key people. And also, we chose the date August 20th and we gave enough time for people to miss work. Look, we all work in some capacity. Some of us have businesses, some of us had jobs. I got a business now, but at that time I had a job. So a 3 months notice wasn't bad to say, hey, on this particular day, August 20th, 2014, I'm gonna be missing. Okay, and so that gave enough time. So we set about getting everybody together, and it's basically the local organizing groups in Dallas just coming together as one. Okay, so this thing didn't come out of nowhere. Okay, it was already created, and again, I come from the Guerrilla Mainframe. That's my group, a group I co-founded along with Erick Khafre Balogun. He go by the name Sandiata now in 2008. All right, and Babuzo Mawali and Lavelle Jenkins, their position was to create, I guess, to kind of lay out the logistics as of where we was going or how we was walking through the community, and they had chose um, going down MLK Boulevard, going to Elaine's Kitchen, making a right on Malcolm X. Interesting thing about Dallas is, and uh, that Malcolm X and Martin Luther King actually cross like this. You know, Malcolm X, excuse me, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X. And so we was coming down Martin Luther King, and we made a right down Malcolm X, and we marched, and we had a lot of support, and a lot of people came out and saluted us, and they was happy to see that sort of thing. This is how the Huey P. Newton Gun Club got started. There's some other key people. I want to talk about Kamau Ozain. Really Kamau Ozain Balogun, but Kamau Ozain, he was a key person in that process. I talked about Anthony Fisher. Um, some other people were very key in the initial startup. Now, my position within the Huey P. Newton Gun Club, uh, yeah, my position in the Huey P. Newton Gun Club uh, was more or less. I think I was good at the marketing aspect of the gun club, and I was good at the initial speaking aspect of the gun club, and kind of explaining the what and why. And from my perspective, can't say no one would disagree, but my perspective was is we were trying to deter police brutality, um, which we say is a euphemism for police terrorism. Number one. Number two, we was trying to promote armed self-defense and to show legally at that particular time that black folks and whomever can bear arms and not worried about some illegal searches or some legal trespasses or some non-legal detainments by the police department at that particular time. And keep in mind, don't look at it from now's perspective or 2020, a bunch of different groups came together and did what they did. And back in 2013, 2014, there wasn't a lot of knowledge or a lot of folks participating in the concept of the black open carry, in the concept of black self-defense, in the concept of taking that sort of kind of position. Now, I believe in the ideas of Minister Huey P. Newton. Let's just start there. Let's start there. And Huey P. Newton promote the ideas of intercommunalism. And if you're not familiar with that concept or that ideas or what that means, look it up. Look it up. I challenge you to look it up. And that's the perspective for which I come from under the teachings of the elders of SNCC members in Dallas, under the teachings of the elders of the elder members of the Black Panther Party that started in 1969, and when the chapter officially closed down in 1978 or somewhere in that time frame, because the members of the Dallas chapter, SNCC and BPP, did not follow in essence, what Minister Huey P. Newton wanted was to everybody to come to Oakland at that particular time. I don't. I've never considered myself to be a panther in the sense of continuing the name per se. What I have considered myself is to continue the work that the Black Panther Party started, that SNCC started. And a lot of times, I mention SNCC because a lot of times we have these conversations about the original Black Panther Party, and they don't talk about the influence of SNCC. And I can tell you here locally, here in the city of Dallas, Texas, I can't speak for other parts of the country, but I can tell you locally, the SNCC chapter was very much so influential in the development of the Black Panther Party that really got started on about 1969 and went through some changes and got started and officially founded in 1973 under Fahim Jabari Minka. So all of this was an influence upon me starting the Huey P. Newton Gun Club because I believe that the elders that started, the elders that began this movement have to be respected. I think if you're not respecting the elders, if you're not showing some discipline in their regards, then you're gonna get nowhere. Okay, because we need some elders. One day you will become an elder, and you have to be willing or able to teach the youth. So I just wanted to talk about what started Huey P. Newton Gun Club uh, and my part in starting it. Police brutality locally, Clinton Allen being murdered by Clark Starler. All of that was very much so influenced. Two other people that I want to talk about that was very important to kind of creating that was Walter Changa Higgins and Stephen Benavidez, who I was on the phone with daily talking about the stats. So in talking about the policy aspect of it, which eventually now we were successful because Changa, who was Walter Higgins, and Dominic Alexander stayed the course and helped creating the whole conversation around the severe review board, which we started really back around 2010. That whole conversation about a new severe review board. That severe review board or oversight board was basically designed to try to get the community engaged here in Dallas and be able to hold police accountable. That's the whole concept about oversight, police review, that sort of thing, right? To sort of have some sort of institution internally within city government that would create an effort of accountability. Not sure if it's going to work, but I do have faith in Walter Higgins, Changa, pushing it to make it have some teeth. Okay, I have faith in my brother, so salute to Changa. But outside of that, that's how that whole uh, thing got started. The Huey P. Newton Gun Club. It wasn't some magical thing. The groups are already active. Guerrilla Mainframe was out on the ground. People's New Black Panther Party was all on the ground. The other groups that got involved were already active or present in the community in some capacity. And so that's what we did. We had some unity on that particular day. Obviously, there are some ideological issues that came out later, which kind of broke that down somewhat. But on that particular day, we came together and created what's now known as the Huey P. Newton Gun Club. We put the energy behind it, and we were able to promote it and promote the idea of armed self-defense. And that's kind of what I think led to folks like Grandmaster Jay because he saw the effectiveness of what we did, and the other formations saw what we basically started here in Dallas, Texas, which was that position of armed self-defense, and we promoted it publicly because we were not afraid. And State Statute 4601 at that particular time gave us the right to do so. And so we exercised it. And so that's the important thing about what we did and what we were willing to do. We was willing to go above and beyond and exercising our rights. So this is how the Huey P. Newton Gun Club got started. August 20, 2014. It was just based upon the availability of the comrades and giving them enough time, 3 months, I'm telling you, 3 months, 90 days to let your job know, hey, on August 20th, I'm not gonna be here. And so we got together, met behind the Black Forest Theater, and we had 30 plus people that participated. And I never expected it to get as much from a media perspective, I should say, as much coverage as it did. But in hindsight, based upon the experiences that I have now, kind of looking back, I know that it was really because what happened with Mike Brown and the people in Ferguson. The people in Ferguson was very much so organized and on a daily basis, consistent basis, and they was creating a conversation what eventually ignited this whole police brutality movement. It was the people in Ferguson that really got this started. So you got to salute the people in Ferguson for getting it started. You got to salute the people in Ferguson for creating the conversation. Uh, they're the ones that did it. The people on the ground, and so those of us that were active prior to that are kind of grateful for them to kind of creating that conversation and pushing the objective forward, which was a national conversation, which I think in some ways we're still having that national conversation. So, comrades, keep the conversation going, keep the fight alive. Do me a big favor, like, share, subscribe to the channel. I'm Yafeuh Balogun. I know you see the name. Like, how do you pronounce that? It's Yafeuh Balogun. That's how you pronounce it. Of the Balogun tribe, still representing, still holding strong. Salute to my comrades, Guerrilla Mainframe. Salute to my comrades, community movement builders. Uh, that's who I'm working with. Very strong group. Solidarity. Like, share, and subscribe for me. Peace and power and prosperity in the words of Rakem Balogun. Check out the Vice link I'm gonna put at the bottom of this here. Check out the link. It's talking about what happened with Rakem. Um, and feel free to comment. Appreciate you.